Wide awake and I feel it, all the windows down. To have this moment now and pray. It's 10 years in the past, and we close our eyes and make it last, and we haven't seen a change. There's a certain moderation that we share, but the heads top of minds how we hold. What makes it difficult to recognize you, yeah. You're trapped inside. It makes it difficult to recognize your past. You're trapped inside. Every time I feel back, every time I lie, I pay for it. Wanna play your role, always looking back. Can't change the sweet love all night, it occurs to me. No one cares, I'm still burns low. It's not the conversations, but lost relations. Sand in train, I do not know. But if you take for granted, no, you can't have it. We're back in a case of control. Every time I feel back, every time I lie, I pay for it. Wanna play your role, always looking back. Can't change the past. So it's broken in, I rise again. Every time I lie, I pay for it. Wanna play your role, always looking back. Can't change the past. Every breath we burn, we build back. Every time we lie, we pray. So play your role, never look back. You can't change the past. We're the only. Can't change the past, can't change the past, can't change the past. It's our glass and broken and our lives are sad.
You're just moments away from a brand new episode of WTF Nations Radio's Pop Culture Warrior, hosted by the dynamic duo CQ and Radar. Pop Culture Warrior is your #1 source for all things entertainment. If it's happening in TV, movies, video games, or comedy, they're all over it. And don't forget to say hi in the comments below. And while you're at it, let the boys know what you think and what you'd like to hear them talk about. Now strap in and get comfortable, because you're in for one hell of a ride. This is Pop Culture Warrior. Shots.
Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Welcome, one and all. Today is October the 6th, 2020. This is episode 33 of Pop Culture Warrior, the show where I stay up to date on all the ins and outs of what's happening in pop culture so you don't have to. I am CQ. I am your pop culture podcaster. And with me, as always, is the man in the bubble, the voice of the unpop cultured, the very talented Mr. Radar. Are you there, buddy?
What's up, man?
How you doing?
I'm doing fucking awesome. How are you, buddy?
It's fucking Tuesday! Woo! Oh man, Pop Culture Warriors back on the air where we belong. How was your weekend, buddy?
Dude, it was great. It's fucking awesome.
Always good.
The work week's kind of sucked, but hey, that's whatever, man. It's been busy, dude. We've been so busy. We've been super busy.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. What's going on, everybody? I see we got Matthew, we got Heath, we got Steve. What's up, buddy? How you guys doing? Oh man, I'm super excited. We got 33 people checking us out at the moment, man. We just kicked on, and I'm excited, guys. First off, our guest in the second hour will be the incredibly funny. I mean, this guy is just amazing. Ralph Garman. He's a legend in the entertainment business. Working radio, TV, he's voiced characters, he's voiced video game characters, he's been in movies, he does podcasting, he has his own show. Like, this guy does it all. He is incredible. Man of a million voices. He can do a crap ton of impersonations. I'm tempted to ask for a few, but I also feel like that's not like, is that cliche? Is that like not, is that frowned upon? Should I not ask him to do voices and stuff? I don't know,
dude. What do you think? I mean,
know.
It's kind of your thing,
right?
And someone asks you to do your thing, like, you can't really get that back, can you?
I know. I feel awkward about it. Like, hey, do it, because yeah, as a comedian, as a guy I hate. Tell me a joke. So come on, make me laugh. Tell me a joke. Like, so.
Tell me a joke.
Yeah. So be make me laugh. Do a funny thing. Do a thing with your voice. Not fun, but. Anyway.
No, I get that, but I don't know. Maybe something like email his people, be like, dude,
my people will talk to your people. Yeah, I don't do voices. So okay.
I don't do voice. I don't do voices. Voices are stupid.
Yeah, you've got twice as many voices as I have, and I'm not counting the ones in your head.
Two.
The ones in your head too. You know. Sorry about it. All right, we got so much to cover. Let's dive right on into it. I want to start out talking about some game news.
Gaming news? What's that?
Gaming news. So obviously the biggest things happening on right about now is the fact that, you know, Xbox is right around the corner. PlayStation's right around the corner. Not sure, you know, if you guys out there, and I'm curious in the chats, let me know if you guys have pre-ordered your systems yet, your system of choice. Have you pre-ordered your PlayStation? Have you pre-ordered your Xbox? Because there's some news here. There's some news. Strap in there, Radar.
I'm strapped.
PS5s. Stay strapped. PS5s, apparently pre-orders are being canceled. There are, basically the story says that so many of the stores, basically when PlayStation announced, hey, here's the price, here's the day they're available. Basically, retailers like that day just started taking pre-orders. They were just like, all right, give us all your pre-orders. And they weren't even aware how many they were going to get. So to make these pre-orders, to accept these pre-orders for when they didn't even know how they were going to get, obviously a lot of them like technically sold out, but we're still taking pre-orders. So they're saying that, you know, retailers like GameStop, Amazon, Walmart, EB Games, Best Buy were all taking orders before knowing how many they would actually have available to sell. In addition, Amazon is sending out emails warning pre-orderers that they may not get the console at launch. That's some stuff. So again, the question is, why are they taking pre-orders before they know how much stock they're going to have, and knowing that, resources will be finite. There's only so many of them. You got to figure, if Amazon is anticipating stock and shipping issues, it's safe to assume that every other retailer is going to have the same thing because, Amazon's got like the most of everything. If Amazon is going to have trouble shipping them and fulfilling orders, you got to assume everybody else is. This is not new. This has happened with the PS4. This has happened with all the Xboxes. This has happened with every system that ever comes out. People jump the gun and end up, some people end up hurt because of it. I don't know. What do you think, man?
Man, I don't know. Okay, I understand. There's only a finite supply.
Mhm.
I get that, 100%. But I think Bob has a really conspiracy theory thing. They canceled the pre-order so they could jack up the prices and do it again. That's actually not out of the realm either. But okay, Walmart, Amazon, Target, all of your big box stores, right?
Mm-hmm.
Large online retailers. We're not talking about like, Joe's electronic shop here in town. Okay, so you got all these dudes who like do good with these things. They should be able to handle the stock, right? And you think that they would have Amazon, especially, we'll say Amazon, we'll go back to the big ones, right? Are going to have a certain amount that's kind of earmarked for them, I'm assuming, right?
Right.
And if they don't get it at launch, that's what I'm kind of curious. Okay, if launch date is X day, right? When the next shipments come in, right? So if it's within a week or two, like what are you going to know? Especially if they're being shipped to your house. Okay, 2 weeks ago, I ordered a wheel for my mountain bike. Okay, just the hoop. The hoop. It's supposed to be 2-day shipping off Amazon, right? Got to Denver, sat there for almost 2 weeks. I got it yesterday.
Wow.
So there's a lot. The shipping is backlogged as well. Just even that was from the postal service.
Yeah.
So when the people are like, "Oh, Trump's trying to fuck the post office," well, how come the post office can't mail me my shit?
Well, and there was also too, like I ordered some stuff that came out of like California, and then with all the wildfires, that delayed a lot. That delayed a lot of stuff.
Denver, Colorado is about a 5-hour drive from me. My fat ass could have drove down there, picked up my shit from their post office, and drove the fuck home in like a work day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, especially when you have like, okay, Amazon Prime. I pay extra money for Amazon Prime, right? And I can't even get mad at fucking Amazon or whomever because they shipped it in a timely manner.
Mm-hmm.
In the method in which the preferred method, I'm sure they pay extra for 2-day shipping or Prime, whatever, right? And then the fucking post office just sits on it, right? So you're talking about companies like Amazon, Walmart, and I don't know how many of these Walmart, because now Walmart's kind of, the online shopping part of Walmart and the in-store part of shopping at Walmart, right?
Right.
So I don't know numbers-wise who goes where and if it's different warehouses or different supply chains. I have no clue how Walmart distributes their product. But I know there is an option. I can get on Walmart.com and I can order tires for my pickup and have them mailed to my home if I like, right? Mm. So if they're going through the same problems and all these other things, like there's going to be a bottleneck and then delays further on down the line. So these pre-orders, I didn't pre-order shit. I'm not even bullshit. I didn't pre-order nothing.
Right.
But I'm assuming when I've pre-ordered things in the past, video games, I have pre-ordered games in the past, they don't actually take your money until it ships, right?
Right. Right.
So you went the day the Xbox Series X came out, right? And you pre-ordered it that day, right? Mm-hmm. So if I got on Walmart.com right now, ordered an Xbox Series X, I would make the assumption that since you did it right away, I was slightly tardy in my desire to purchase the product, that I would get mine later on, right? First come, first serve. It's fuck capitalism, right?
Sure.
So if you order your shit from Amazon after the other people already ordered it and they went through their first line of pre-orders and now they're on the second, third, or fourth, or whatever iteration of shipments to Amazon, sorry about it. Suck nerd should have ordered it first, right? So, I mean, I wouldn't say cancel it, but I would give them an email saying, hey, 400,000 people in front of you. Sorry about it. Like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I guess
No,
I don't
you're
understand
right.
what the issue is, but I don't cancel their order. Be like, hey, sorry, you might be delayed 2 weeks
Right.
or
Well,
whatever.
and
How are fast some little Chinese kids can fucking solder some boards and shit? I don't know, but
yeah, I mean, basically that's what it boils down to. I just, it sucks for those people that tried
no, it
that.
doesn't suck for them. It doesn't suck for them one bit. No, because somebody else ordered in front of them, right?
I mean,
Somebody ordered in front of them. If I
yeah.
okay, we'll leave. Okay, we'll stay on the COVID thing, right?
Hmm.
Toilet paper. Okay, you can go get toilet paper now, right?
Yeah.
People fucking got done hoarding toilet paper. Back in then, when people were hoarding fucking shit paper, if you went down and said, "Oh, I need some shit paper," and when they still had it, you got it, right? If you went down there fucking 2 weeks later, you found everyone else bought all the shit paper, and you went down there and all fucking shit paper's gone, you'd be like, "Well, guess I'm not gonna wipe my butt now. Where my old sock at?"
Sorry
Right?
about it.
Sucks, nerd. This is a free market society. They should not hold your fucking PlayStation or your fucking Xbox Series X because you fucking forgot about it or you didn't have the fucking money until after someone else did. Fuck it. Sucks to suck, nerd. Get your own fucking shit. Like, sorry, I need more beer.
You good, buddy? Do we need to talk? Are you okay?
No, but what I'm saying is, what? Why should it be anyone else's responsibility because they were tardy upon their shit?
Well, yeah,
Right?
but I also think that it's well, we don't know that they're canceling them in order.
Well, you wouldn't think they'd cancel the first ones,
Well, that's
right?
I hope not. I hope not. I didn't order a PlayStation, so it's not my problem. Sorry about it. But
This is what you get. Order Xbox Series X.
there you go.
You get a
Now,
fucking Xbox. If
now,
you needed a reason before to be like, well, I don't know if I'm kind of torn between the PlayStation and the Xbox, and then PlayStation fucks you like that, go buy an Xbox. That's fucking right out the radar mouth.
now on the other side of the aisle, speaking
Radar
of
approved.
Xbox, yeah, we got to get our GIF, our Xbox approved GIF. On the other side of the aisle, Xbox Series X, while not having problems with release, apparently, there are some early users, right? They sent out a bunch of prototypes, not prototypes, they're finished, but they're just pre-released versions. They sent them out to a bunch of content creators, influencers, journalists, all so they could review the product and get the word out there and all this and all that. For the most part, the impressions of the Xbox X have been largely positive. They talk about it's powerful, it's nimble, it's super quiet. But apparently, it emits a crazy amount of heat. Like like jet engine heat level coming off this thing. So according to Jo Video Ken Bogard, the Xbox Series X runs quietly, but it does emit a ton of heat.
Till it melts down.
And it's even while it's running simple tasks. The journalist compared the console to a fireplace like shaft. He says that while he was only running backward compatible games, right? He wasn't even running the full optimized 4K games. He was running some old games. But according to him, it emitted a substantial amount of heat, even when it was in standby mode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said, okay, so he was just navigating menus and doing very simple tasks. So it wasn't really running demanding stuff. It was, and they said if that were a one-off claim, maybe it was just a faulty unit. But there's been other people that have making it. There's Giant Bomb's Jeff Bakar pointed out the same issue. According to him, the console again emits a substantial amount of heat even when in standby mode. He actually apparently burned his hand on they have the storage expansion. You can like plug in an extra memory card almost. And he said he burned his hand while messing around with that. And let me just say that well, here's what he said. He goes, what's crazy is that it was just plugged in, it was just sitting in standby mode, and the thing was hot. And it seems like it seems like in the way like a lot of other consoles were doing stuff while you were not using them. I don't know, that makes sense. It seems like this thing might be doing something while you're not using it, right? Because it's pumping up so much heat, it's got to be doing something. Now,
yeah, it's probably fucking stealing your personal information.
probably, but so I have two reads on this. Obviously, one, that's not good, right? God forbid you put it next to something flammable or something. That's not good. But in theory, that means it's doing what it's supposed to do. This
Will it
is
stay cool?
It's this thing
not
is
doing that.
No, but that's the thing. It is staying cool. That's the thing.
Is it? Is that how is it staying cool?
Because
Burn the shit out of people.
it's pushing all the heat. The system cranks an amazing amount of power, and that cooks up a lot of heat. And so the fact that this fan, that's why it was built in a tower. It's stacked for ventilation, and it's pushing the air up and out. You want that heat out of the system versus inside the system, where you start like melting components. So the ice
melting children.
Yeah, you're roasting marshmallows on top of this thing. It's a twofer. You play video games and roast marshmallows. Yeah. So at the moment, Microsoft has not publicly commented about these reports of the temperature problem, but it could be a lot of different things. It could be a lot of it was prototypes that weren't fully functioning. It could have been I don't know. It could have been a lot of things. Joshua says hardware is in a tight space, not enough room to breathe. Yeah. Again, I'm me being the optimist. I'm saying that I think it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's making a lot of heat because it's very powerful, and it's pushing that heat out of the system. And then they're probably in the instruction manual, like, keep anything like 6 feet away from this thing. It's a furnace, which where I game is already the hottest part of my house. So that is not a good sign for me. Well, I might lose some weight, man. I might sweat some extra weight off. And yeah. Mike says, do we got any Tom Cruise news? You know what? In your face, we do have Tom Cruise news, and we'll get to that later.
Yeah, he sucks. Sorry about it.
And there's your Tom Cruise news.
There's your Tom Cruise news of the day. Tom Cruise football.
Still sucks. No. So yeah. So I don't know, man. Are you concerned with where you would put this system and the amount of heat it's going to crank out?
Well, I concerned about shit 'cause I didn't buy one.
Okay. Radar buys one. Is he concerned?
Okay, I'll put this: when Radar buys one.
When
Radar's going to buy one.
Sure.
Let's be honest, but not right now. So okay,
put it in front of the air conditioner.
When Radar buys one, is he going to no? Because that's why Radar won't buy the first one. Radar buys the one to get all the bugs worked out. That motherfucker, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough. When my house burns down, I'll warn you about it.
Well, hang out here, I guess. I have beers. I have beers in the fridge. You can come hang out with me. No, but okay, but genuinely. Okay, one, video game consoles have always been on the warm side.
Sure.
That's kind of been a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, dude. Like, do you think that? I was always told never buy the first iteration of a car. Right? Whenever they come out with a new car, you never buy that one because they have bugs to work out of it. Right?
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking at this the same way.
Like,
they have bugs to work out of it, and I'm sure there might be something like, okay, let's drill a couple more holes in it, and it'll be good to go. You know what I mean? Like, genuinely, there might be just some stupid fix they can do to it.
Yeah.
Or looking at I have two desktop PCs, one on each side of my leg. Right? I have one to run my Skype stuff and one to broadcast with when I do my shit. Right? I'm perfectly comfortable, but I use liquid cooling. Right? So I mean, there's other options for cooling in these different products that maybe I'm sure somebody at Microsoft has been like, why don't we try some liquid cooler? You know what I mean? Or
well, it's not cost effective for them, and also
if you're spending $600 on a fucking system or whatever, your shit better not catch your house on fire or burn your fucking baby or whatever.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
like
true.
Which one's more cost effective on that end of it?
You know, you ever have like you hear the things where like, oh, the kid ran in. It's happened to me playing game, and my kid runs in. He sees the button because it's lit up, and he's like, ooh, button, and he pushes it and turns it off. Well, now that's an anti-defense mechanism.
Yeah, I guess when you put it that way, fuck yeah.
They go in there and melt his face off.
Melt your kid's face off.
Trying to get to my system. All right. More news. Let's switch over to TV news. Yay! TV news. Oh, this is a how do I preposition this? This is an interesting story that I came across. Something that I think you'd like. But I forewarn you, there's an asterisk. Are you ready?
Sure.
Remember how Cops, the TV show, was canceled?
Yeah. Black
Months,
Lives Matter.
months after the cancellation, the show has reportedly resumed production.
No way.
Cops is technically not on the Paramount network, and they've been quoted, the spokesman from Paramount quoted that it's not currently on the network and we don't have any current or future plans for it to return. Remember that. I said that on this show back when that came out. The show's 33rd season was pulled from air, but as reported, production is currently underway in Spokane, Washington, a region that's played host to the show many times in the past. The film crews have been working with deputies since September and will continue to do so until November, according to a release statement. Here's where the big but comes in. A spokesman for the production company did tell The Hollywood Reporter that although we are filming new episodes, these episodes will not air in the US. These are to fulfill overseas commitments. So while I was super excited when I saw the headline, Cops resumes production, I was like, yeah! I read through it and get to the last line. These will not be shown in the US. They are
That
to
makes me sad,
fulfill...
Panda.
Yeah, sad panda.
But I'm going to throw the butt in there.
Okay.
There's always the internet.
There's always the internet. There's still a chance.
Well, so I mean, like, and here's the question. I mean, I guess I don't know. There's probably, let's be honest, some fucking pirated Cops episodes on the internet if you really want to watch it that bad.
Oh yeah.
I'm saying.
Everything's on it. Everything exists on the internet.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I did remember Live PD, which also, same thing kind of happened to them. The difference there was that the host, Dan Abrams, promised fans that, like, we might be gone now, but we're coming back. So hopefully we'll get at least one of those shows to come back.
In all fairness, you can promise in one hand and shit in the other, see which one goes up first.
Nice, dude. Radar isms are the best. They are the
dude.
best.
Radar's kind of unhappy today.
Cranky, you cranky Radar.
Radar cranky.
All right.
Okay, but I'm gonna go back to this and be serious again though.
Sure.
Okay.
We can be serious on the show.
They've been. I don't know a show like Cops. Okay. Mm-hmm. Has been. We talked about this pretty much at length before, mm-hmm. right? It's such a staple, almost in our culture.
33 seasons.
Right? You can't just throw it away. Sorry about it. You just can't. And I don't think they're really going to be able to sustain that. It's going to come back. I think a lot of this, I really, really, really think that very shortly, a lot of this stuff is going to kind of go back to normal. After the election cycle, I'm going to I'd be kind of butthurt if it doesn't go back a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I hear you.
I mean, and maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong, but I've been wrong a lot. I mean, like that one time I got married to my ex-old lady. Like, yeah.
I was gonna make a comment though. Like, no, let it go. What else we got in TV news?
What I'm just saying, we could. It would surprise me if, in the next, pick a time, we'll say year and a half, willing to bet there's gonna be new episodes
on U.S. TV.
On U.S. television. Maybe not to the same extent as it was, right? Or maybe on something like Netflix. Maybe like Netflix will pick it up, or one of the streaming services, something like that.
I could easily see that being the case, that Paramount TV, which owns it, decides that, okay, this is useless to us. We can't do anything with it. And some network, regardless of who it is, says, I'm willing to take the heat for bringing it back and gamble that it'll bring in ratings. So maybe a Netflix, maybe a Peacock network, maybe HBO Max, somebody that says, we need content, we need something that people will come to see, and willing to take the heat of, like, oh no, that show is whatever. And yeah, I can see that. I don't think we'll ever see it on Paramount Network, the way it was. But yeah, I agree with you. I could totally see it coming back and being something somewhere else. Agreed.
I think it'll still be a thing. I don't think it's gone. I really don't. It's just been too much.
Mm.
It is ingrained. It is ingrained in our culture, and I feel like it would be a disservice for it to just go away. And I feel like they have too much invested in it, and it's too popular. It's too relevant.
Yeah.
To just disappear, and that's where I'm at with it. So
here you go. Here's an interesting thought from Floridian in the comment section. He said, if you put the politics aside, do we know what the ratings were for Cops? Maybe this was them having an out to cancel, contracts and things like that because ratings weren't that good. I mean, I don't think that's likely when they were already like midway through shooting their 33rd season and something like that. Like, because you got to figure it's a low investment for them to have a couple camera guys and a couple editors and then just go out there and let idiots be idiots and make good TV. While I don't think that's the case, it is a possibility. It is a possibility that they just saw this as an out. So maybe. But anyway, I got more news. All right. Lots more to cover. I'm going to talk about. This one I'm very excited about. So on the heels of last week, I think we talked about that Disney Plus had cast She-Hulk, right? It was Tatiana Maslany had been signed
the
on.
AT&T girl.
Not the AT&T girl. I'm gonna find her and I'm gonna bring her.
I'll shut up.
I'm gonna find her and I'm gonna bring her on this show. I swear to God, I'm gonna do it. Quote me. Come at me, bro. So Tatiana Maslany signed on to do the role of She-Hulk. Well, this past week it was announced one of the new shows has also found its lead. The Miss Marvel Disney Plus series has found its Kamala Khan, the titular character, a young woman by the name of, oh my God, I'm terrible at pronouncing names, Iman Vellani. All right, here's a pic for you, Iman Vellani. So that's obviously the actress on the right and the character of Kamala Khan on the left. She is going to make her debut. Probably we're thinking 2021, right? That's when it's expected to arrive. And then, being as that the character shares kind of a history with Miss Marvel, or Captain Marvel, I should say, Captain Marvel. Obviously she wears the bolt that we're very familiarized with Miss Marvel. There's a rumor that she'll debut in her series and then possibly be in the follow-up Captain Marvel sequel, that she would appear in that, because the whole reason in the comic books, Kamala Khan, she develops powers. She's a polymorph. Basically, she can change her body shape. Think like Mr. Fantastic, stretchy and size changey. So that was her power, and she's inspired by Captain Marvel to become a hero, and she becomes a hero for Jersey City, and eventually joining the Avengers and things like that. So given that she's going to have her own series, given that the character's background is kind of inspired by Captain Marvel, there's a very good likelihood that she'll appear maybe in the Captain Marvel movie. And that's what they've been saying behind the scenes. They've been saying that like a lot of Disney Plus shows are setting up kind of origin stories and backstories so that you can kind of just jump into the movie and just kind of get to the action without having to do a lot of the background chitter chatter and get up to speed a lot faster. Vellani, the young girl, is a newcomer to Hollywood, which plays kind of great, because Kamala Khan, and when she, if anybody out there has played the recent Avengers game, that kind of plays out her story very much similar, is that she is not an established character. She is a nobody who discovers she has powers and then is such a big fan of the Avengers that she, tries to follow suit. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think? I like the casting. I mean, she's no AT&T girl, but she'll do.
She looks young.
Yes.
in that photo. I don't know how old she is. I know nothing about her. I didn't
Yeah.
IMDb her or anything like that.
She's on the young side. Yep.
She looks young.
Mhm.
She has potential. I don't hate it. I don't hate the choice. I think I'm excited to see it. You know me, I'll play devil's advocate. Make it good. Make it good. I'll watch it. I don't give a shit who you cast. I don't. AT&T girl or no. Make it good. Make it. I'll watch it if it's good. And that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I got you. Well, no, and here's the thing. Again, yes, it could be terrible. But Marvel's been on a real hot streak, and maybe you could, the pessimists could say they're due for a stinker. They're due for a bad show. But I really think that they've been doing a phenomenal job with casting and directing and writing and acting. I like the odds. I think this brings some diversity into the fold. You look at the Avengers, 6 big white people, with only one female, and it's good. It's good. It's good. It's gonna give young kids someone to look up to and say, hey, that kind of looks like me, and I can be a superhero too. I like it. I'm all for it. I grew up poor kid in the slums of New York City, and I looked up to Spider-Man because he was my hero. He was the guy that was the nobody. He was the dork who was poor and just had to make something for himself. And so yeah, I want that I'd hope that for other people. So I'm cool with it. I like it. Mike coming off the top ropes with Miss Marvel is a garbage filler character. I think it's a new character for a new generation. I think the character of Miss Marvel didn't come about until I think it was 2013. Yeah, that sounds about right. 2013. She's only been around 7 years. When you have someone like Spider-Man who's been around since the 60s, so I think it's good. I think it brings, just because they're a new character doesn't mean they're any less valid or they're any less good. But time will tell. I think it's a great character. I do. There are some, we got Polka Dot Man and shit out there. Those are some filler characters that nobody needs to be having more of. But all right, moving on. So we talked the Marvel show. This story, I am incredibly fascinated about how this kind of came about and whatnot. So a couple weeks ago, remember, they did the DC Fandom. And they released, stuff for all the stuff that was coming out. They talked about a bunch of stuff, and one of the things they talked about was Suicide Squad. We got a peek behind Suicide Squad, and it looks awesome. It really looks good. And one of the characters everybody was talking about was John Cena as Peacemaker, who is basically like Captain America without the morals, basically wanting peace by any means necessary, including killing everybody. So apparently, with this downtime, with all this time to spare, so for those in the know, Sean Gunn, who was directing Suicide Squad, is gonna wrap that up and then eventually start Guardians of the Galaxy 3. That's his 2 projects. Well, because of the pandemic, everything got shut down, everything got delayed. So I guess he was just sitting at home doing what he's doing and came up with the idea of a full backstory for John Cena's character, Peacemaker. And it's been greenlit to become a series. So here's your first official picture released by HBO. And the banner just said, "Oh, fuck, it's Peacemaker." That was the announcement. that's some announcing right there. And with it, basically, Warner Media announced the series, obviously with the pitch of "Oh fuck, it's Peacemaker." It's a new Max original series starring John Cena and from the writer-director James Gunn. The image attached showcased the DC Comics Peacemaker with John Cena's very much likeness. The full press release is this. HBO Max is set to explore the origins of the Peacemaker character, the master of weapons, from the highly anticipated upcoming Suicide Squad film in the new Max original action-adventure comedy series, Peacemaker. HBO Max has given a straight-to-series order of 8 episodes for the first season of the show. John Cena will reprise his role from the Suicide Squad movie to star in the series, and the film's acclaimed writer-director James Gunn will write all 8 episodes of Peacemaker and will direct multiple of the episodes, including the first one. So this is interesting. This is very, very interesting. I have a lot of feelings about this because I've noticed a trend of what both Disney and Marvel are doing, and now DC is kind of imitating and also trying to take the reins with, right? Because Disney, a couple years ago, says, we're going to build the Disney Plus series. We're going to fill it with these series that promote characters and kind of flesh them out and bring them up to the big leagues. Well, now we're seeing kind of HBO, I was going to say DC, Warner, HBO, they're all kind of connected. We're seeing them do the opposite, where they're saying, we're going to give you these movie universes, and then we're going to take characters out of them and then flesh them out in their own series. We saw it first when they announced the Batman movie, but very soon after that said, we're going to do a Gotham TV show, a Gotham PD, where it takes place in that universe, but it's a different set of circumstances. Now we're seeing it with Suicide Squad, and the side character being the Peacemaker getting his own series. So, I don't know. What do you, Radar, what do you feel about the trend that's starting to develop of movie universes kind of spinning off their own TV-ish? I guess you TV streaming series is.
I don't know. I don't hate it. I don't. It could be because, and this is me. This is Radar. I'm going to go back to why I watch things.
Mm-hmm.
I watch good shows and good television. Okay, gives them a chance to reel me in. But I think it's good, and this is good for people like you, or people who aspire to be you, because you're like the pop culture warrior. But if you want more backstory, it's an opportunity for them to really expound on the canon of the characters, right? The canon of the universe. And it gives people an expansion of that universe that they do love so much.
Right.
I want to watch it because it's a good show. Good or bad, if it's crap, I don't want to watch it. I'll be like, it's bullshit, I'm not watching it. But some people who really want to understand more of how this universe works, probably should be me, but I probably don't give a fuck. Sorry about it. I mean, I understand. And I think it's great that they're expanding that, and they're bringing more of a backstory to more of the characters, because it really does help keep people involved, get people involved into the things that they want to see. Right. So that's where I look at it. If it's good, I'll watch it. If it's crap, it's not. I'm not. Sorry about it. But
hey, I think we're getting a call. Hang on here. Let's see.
Oh, let's watch this call.
I'm curious. We're getting a call here. Is there somebody there? Ooh.
Hey.
Hello. Who's this?
This is Mike Larson.
Hey,
Number one fan. Top fan.
What's going? Top fan Mike Larson in the house. What can we do you for, buddy?
What's up, buddy? Hey, go ahead and tell everyone what special day today is.
All right, it's only fair. Today is Mike Larson's birthday, everybody. Yay, everybody.
What?
Happy birthday, top fan Mike Larson.
Woo!
There you go.
All right. I'm just glad King Smith got knocked out. Him losing his status was the highlight of my life.
Oh, you're welcome.
Anyway.
That was your birthday gift. You're welcome. Any thoughts on Peacemaker?
Yeah, I like him. I mean, John Cena. We can't see him. I don't know why they're putting him in movies.
Well, that's why they gave him the shiny helmet, so you could see him.
Right. No, I think he's good. I think he has the chops. I like his little comedy skits. I mean, the kids liked his little firefighting movie he did. But,
right on, man.
He's also supposed to do Duke Nukem. I don't want to, rain on your parade, but...
Are you scooping me? Are you scooping me, bro?
I'm scooping you. I'm scooping the scooper over here.
No, yeah, there's been a lot of rumors that he's attached to a Doom, kind of like a script that's out there. Nothing official yet, but we're keeping an eye on it. He's attached to a couple things. Him and like The Rock are just attached to like everything in Hollywood.
everything.
So
Vince McMahon's, slinging his money everywhere. I'm sure he gets a percentage of everything they do.
Probably.
But
right.
The Rock's doing good stuff. Look, Jumanji. Like, who thought a Jumanji sequel would have been successful? Really, and then they made it happen.
The man's making it. I didn't talk about it today because I kind of wanted. There's a bunch of bummer news about a lot of stuff getting canceled again and moved back again. But one of the things that has been removed from the slate of movies was The Rock's Black Adam movie. So the follow up to the Shazam films. Yeah, it hasn't been officially canceled, but it's been completely removed from all of these studios. They release a slate. They say, okay, this is the schedule. This is this movie, that movie, that movie. It's been completely removed from all schedules. So
bummer. That's what everyone's waiting for.
Yeah, he's been working on that one for a long time.
He threw up the teaser poster a couple months ago.
Yeah.
DC, I don't know. They're ticking me off.
they say one step forward, two steps back every time.
We'll freaking get Aquaman too, because that's what the people want.
That's what the women want. Some more shirtless wet shirtless Jason Momoa. That's what all the women want.
We got enough of them. Just follow him on Instagram. You don't need to see a movie of him. Like, come on. Johnny Depp's ex-wife is not going to be in it or might be in it.
I don't know.
Just beating his ass. I guess it's not hard to beat Johnny Depp's ass, but it's disappointing.
Listen, man, I don't need you shitting on celebrities. I don't need you shitting on celebrities, and then they're not going to come on.
Sorry, she's on the show in 3 weeks.
Goodness gracious. You Marines are all the
ruining
same.
Ruining things here. Whatever. But, no. I mean, I like the Cenas. I think he'll do good stuff. I think he's got a good coach. I think WWE has like a side project. Like, hey, you're good here. We're gonna train you to do movies. They're doing the Rock's formula. Like you do entry level stuff like Tooth Fairy, the football bullshit.
Get your feet wet, yeah. Get your feet wet, and then I mean, they developed, because of the success of The Rock. Go back a couple years ago, they developed an in-house movie studio called WWE Studios, and they were releasing their own movies.
17 Marine movies, which were absurd.
Yes,
those
Marines were eating it up.
It's standard training now.
You go to boot camp and they show you
17 WWE fucking Marine movies.
Oh, I just imagine that they're like, all right, line up. Who's your favorite actor? It's John Cena. That's the answer.
John Cena.
The Marine, the best movie ever. All right.
Why couldn't it be in the Airborne? I don't know.
Yeah.
So I've been watching Netflix. Have you watched The Ratchet yet? I watched Ratchet. I thought it was pretty cool. It's with the lady from American Horror Story.
Okay.
I don't know if you've talked about that or whatever, but it's based on the character from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. All time great book. I read the book before I watched the movie. Yeah, I read.
Wait, I was gonna say, you know how to read?
In a while. Yeah, sometimes. I don't know.
Shit, how'd you end up a Marine?
I don't know. I fucking got a 90 on the ASVAB, and they're like, you could do whatever you want. I'm like, I'm gonna join the infantry.
Isn't it like the high score like 1,000 and you got a 90?
And they're like, yeah. No, the high score's 100, you dick. I hate you.
I don't know. I want to verify. I want to verify.
To this show. Anyways, tell me have you watched that show?
No, I haven't. I haven't, man. I caught up this weekend. I caught up Cobra Kai. I finally sat down. There's 2 seasons available now on Netflix. I finally caught up. I think the 3rd season starts, I want to say it was like February. Yeah. I think is when they announced, they said it's coming out. But yeah, great series. For what it was, for what I'm sure YouTube's budget when they shot it, it's a phenomenal show. It's a phenomenal show.
Yeah. I watched season 1. Well, I had my means, but I watched it without paying when it came out a year or 2 ago. But we started watching it again because I had to show my wife. I'm like, this shit's great. But I like how they turn the tables. They make Daniel Russo seem like he's a jerk off, which I thought was great. And then that guy's still a jerk off, but
yeah,
a little less so.
No, I like that they've made the characters are more nuanced. That nobody is straight up good guy, nobody is straight up bad guy. It's a fluctuation, just as in life. There are days where you're doing the right thing, and there's days where you're not doing the right thing, and the other guy's doing the right thing. So I like that about the show. Each episode, you really don't know who to root for, because one episode is like, oh, that guy's a dick, and the next episode is like, oh my god, he's the hero. So I like that.
And the guy's drinking the whole time, which is what I like. And he's drinking Miller, fucking regular, not Miller Lite.
It's like Coors Banquet. Coors Banquet is what is go to.
Oh, Coors Banquet. That's right.
That's what it is.
Mess that up.
But no, it's good. I like it. It's a great show. I'm interested to see where they take it in the future.
They got renewed for another season. They're on season 4. They're renewed for now.
Yeah. So they've already
pretty impressive.
They've already started shooting season 3, and then they've already been greenlit for season 4 as well. So it's gonna be interesting. I'm excited to continue the series. I will say, I'm not even lying. I was so inspired. I put out a feeler to Ralph Macchio's people to see if he'll come out on the show, and I got back. Thank you for your interest, but he's a little busy currently, and I was like,
busy for the first time in 30 years.
Yeah, I was like, damn it, I just missed my window. But
he would have hit us up 4 years ago. He would be gone.
I wanted to respond. I bet you if I would have emailed you 3 years ago, he would have been free. But I was like, nah,
right?
okay. That's fair enough.
Probably get the other guy. He's not doing nothing.
The guy that played Joey Lawrence.
Doing what he does on the show.
It's what you don't realize.
Coors Banquet right now. That's how he gets paid.
Yeah. No, it's
each episode he gets a 12-pack.
It's a reality show.
I would do it for that.
He just gets they shoot around him and then write the story to kind of match the footage that they just shoot around his regular life.
Exactly.
Anyway, hey, let me get your thought on this.
Coming back, man.
Yeah.
I know we had a couple months ago. We were like, Netflix is going down.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they're coming back.
But here's the thing: they're buying their way back into it. That's the thing.
Yeah,
because
smart.
they were
as long as they could pay back who they're buying it from.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll be successful.
That's why I felt that Netflix was on the way out, because they were losing money, they were losing subscribers, and they were canceling all the shows that they had. And I said, they're not gonna last. How they've got the money to start buying up other people's shows, no idea. But they figured out a way to do it, and now they're kind of filling up their they're filling up their
repertoire.
Yeah, they're stable. Here, I got one story before we go to break. Since you're here, I'm gonna get you and Radar's opinion here. So hang on. It's actually in the, where'd it go? Oh, hang on. Gotta swipe over movies. But it was just announced that Jamie Foxx is coming back to the Spider-Man universe and will be playing Electro again. For those that are not initiated, he played Electro, a version of Electro, in the second Spider-Man. What do you want to call it?
Spider-Man.
Yeah, it was the not the current Spider-Man, not the original Spider-Man, that kind of in between Andrew Garfield. It was Amazing Spider-Man 2. He played Electro, a blue version of Electro. Well, it just came out. First, a rumor came out that he was being signed on for a mystery character in Spider-Man 3, and all of a sudden, he himself confirmed it. He confirmed it. He put it out there and said, like, yeah, I'm coming back. He's like, basically, his exact words were, that he'll be playing the same version of the character. Okay, you know what? I can just show it. What am I doing? Here you go. I'm gonna just show it. So this is an actual pull from his Instagram where he says, "Tell Spidey, let's run it back. Super excited to be part of the new Marvel Spider-Man new installment. Can't wait for y'all to check the new one. and I won't be blue in this one, but 1,000% badass. So a couple of things. I don't think Marvel likes it when you scoop them. Like, there's a big no-no in the Marvel world. Don't scoop our shit. We announce our shit. But he scooped them. Secondly, just it's curious to me that he chose this image as part of the announcement. If you can't see it, it looks like a pull straight from what was it? Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the cartoon movie, the animated movie. Obviously edited to look like Electro's kind of in the background up there. But is this his way of giving us a hint that not only him coming back, but other people coming back, that are we going to get in Spider-Man 3 some type of multiverse, kind of version? Because we already know that Doctor Strange, well, first WandaVision's coming out. That's going to play around with reality manipulation. Then we know that Doctor Strange 2 is coming out, called Multiverse of Madness, or something like that. And that it's going to, Wanda's going to play a part of that, like kind of shattering the multiverse. So if that trend follows, is this kind of an alluding to the fact that Spider-Man 3 could introduce the Spider-Verse? I don't know. What do you think?
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, it's Sony. I mean, they're kind of, Marvel's like, hey, you should do this. Like, tapping them on the shoulder. But it's Sony, and they're going to do what they want. Fire all their guns at once, like DC. So I wouldn't doubt it if they're doing a multiverse with We'll start with Jimmy Fox. Next thing you know, you're gonna hear freaking Tobey Maguire.
That's the rumor. Honestly, the rumors are that they've already talked to Tobey Maguire, but that they've also talked to not Andrew Garfield, but the dude that played Harry Osborn in the second series. Like, they've talked to him. There's rumors that they've talked to multiple people from different parts of the universe. They've talked to. I'm
sure they can get James Franco. He's not doing nothing. I mean, just pay him with pot.
Listen, I don't need you spouting off bad shit about something. Radar, what about you, man? Do you like the idea of the Spider-Man universe coming kind of unglued in the next Spider-Man movie?
Man, I don't. Make it good, son. Make it good.
Make it good. Make it good.
Make it good. Be good. Be better. Man, I'm gonna say this, and this is probably some sort of like, I don't know, I'm gonna get in trouble with people. I don't like Spider-Man so much.
Oh, that's it. You're fired. You are absolutely fired.
I just have a hard time. Like, I don't know, man.
Bro.
He's kind of the lamest of the characters.
All right, and thank you guys for watching.
Look at all the Avengers stuff. Look at all the Batman stuff. Look at all the other stuff that's better than the bullshit Spider-Man shows that have come out.
Thank you guys for watching Pop Culture Warrior. I'm going to end the show with that. We are officially canceling. They're pulling our funding. The show is no longer on the air.
Dude, like, they need to get their shit together. You can throw. Okay, first off,
there's a reason everyone likes Venom and Carnage more than like Spider-Man. I'm just saying.
To be honest, like, James Fox has he done anything since White Girls?
Okay.
Like,
you know what? I'm sending us to break because I need a few minutes to process all that's just happened to me. I feel assaulted. I am triggered. I'm gonna need a few minutes.
Would you say any of the Spider-Man from the last 5 years is any of the better than any of the Avenger movies from the last 5 years? Name any of them.
Listen. That's you can't. Avengers is not. Now, if you said like the standalone, like Thor or Iron Man, okay, you can't compare like Avengers. That's multiple superheroes.
Spider-Man movies have been better than Thor or Iron Man.
In my opinion, I'm a Spider-Man fan.
Thor. We can't go Thor. I mean,
yeah, I don't know, dude.
The best Thor.
Thor was the best, but
you guys are the worst.
We can do any of the other standalone movies. You can go Captain America. You can go Iron Man. I would say Iron Man 2 is better than Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But,
well, in the chat, hey, Heath, I see you in the chats. Says House of M. I agree with you. And Joshua says Madam Web. I agree with you. Guys, we got to go to break. We have a really good guest coming in after the break. We're going to take a quick 10-minute break, and afterwards we're going to have Ralph Garman joining us here in studio. Thank you, Mike, for calling in, and we'll see you guys after the break.
You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio.
It's Friday night and I'm feeling low, and you're the reason that I do so. I'll keep on drinking till I comatose, or I pass out on the floor. You got me staring out the windows, 8 hours late and you're a no-show. Where I'm from, that's called a no-go. I guess I should have known. I'm sleeping with one eye open, hoping you will make it whole. You're always on my mind, but right here, right now, I'm better without you. I've had this for some time, but right now I know that I'm better on my Remember when we used to lay in bed and talk the night away? Today it feels like you have nothing left to say. I pack my bags and collect my things. Take what you want, but you can't have me. I'm keeping my heart under lock and key wherever I may roam. Sleeping with one eye open, hoping you will make it whole. You're always on my mind, but right here, right now, I'm better without you. I've had this for some time, but right now I know that I'm better on my own. You and me are heading for a disaster, one I cannot ignore. I'm moving forward, you're moving backwards. I can't take anymore. So come on, you're always on my mind, but right here, right now, I'm better without you. You're always on my mind, but right here, right now, I'm better without you. I've had this for some time, but right now I know that I'm better on my own.
I'm always in clouds, looking up and fading out. Cirrus shapes I found blow me away. Van Allen right around, pushing through. Skin is brown, nature has us trapped in fear. So I get lost in sound. I wonder if you'll ever know why I am the way I am. I've been thinking a lot about time and space surrounding. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I've been thinking of me, so obvious yet never seen. Feelings all the fog will lift to find me lost at sea. I've been thinking a lot about time and space surrounding. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I've been thinking a lot about life, it's never ending. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? Myself and I am so lost in beautiful, far away from life. But I want your visceral feeling to be mine. Oh, I just don't get it. When will your heart beat with my mind? Oh, I've been thinking a lot. I've been thinking a lot about time and space surrounding. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I've been thinking a lot about life and it's never ending. Is there anyone who is thinking like me?
I stood there in that middle of church with a bottle of gin in my hand. I'm looking up at the rooftop like I'm trying to find my long lost friend. My days turn to nights, my nights turn to weeks when you're living life on the road. I'm halfway back to New Orleans with a few more drinks to go. I said, tip 'em on back. Well, let's tip 'em on back. I finally made it back to Bourbon Street, picking some of them old night bars, hoping I could find myself playing music on my guitar. For the kid around, they all shouted out as the drinks began to flow. I pulled out that old guitar, then I showed them how to do-si-do. I said, tip 'em on back. Well, let's tip 'em on back. I stood there in that middle of church with a bottle of gin in my hand, looking up at the rooftop like I'm trying to find my long lost friend. Days turn to nights, but nights turn to weeks when you live a life on the road.
Call the show now at 415-889-8367. The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture Warrior. I am, of course, CQ. With me today, I'm super excited. I love this guy. So, my guest tonight, you know, he starred as the host of Spike's faux reality series, The Joe Schmo Show. He's a comedian, radio host, podcaster, has done voice work for shows you love like Family Guy, Robot Chicken, American Dad. You can currently listen to him on the long-running Hollywood Babylon podcast with co-host Kevin Smith, or his very own daily podcast, The Ralph Report, on Patreon. please welcome everybody, Ralph Garman. What's going on, bud?
Yay! I love him.
He's awesome. He's the best.
How are you, CQ?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
I'm great. I have a cocktail. I'm relaxing here in my home talking to you. What could be better?
Oh my goodness. And obviously, first and foremost, for those that don't know you, first, how dare they? Second, like
Right.
what you're in a bat cave, which I think is awesome. So thank you for tuning in from the bat cave.
My pleasure. This is where all my audio-visual stuff is. This is where I do my daily show from, and it's my office, but it also houses all my nerdy collectibles, my vintage Batman stuff. So it's my favorite place in the house.
Oh, I love it. I love it because that means that's where you're going to be the most relaxed. You're going to be the most enjoyed and comfortable.
Exactly.
So let me. So the first thing, obviously, this is a station and a show that's geared towards military, geared towards the veteran community. Usually, when we have guests on, I'll ask, "Hey, do you know? Did you serve? Did you know anybody serve? Do you have any military connection in your family, friends?"
I didn't serve, but my father was in the Navy. He served at a Naval Air Force base just outside Philadelphia, where I'm from, my hometown, in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. And he served throughout the Korean conflict, as they called it back in the day. And I've had plenty of uncles who also served on my mother's side, and a lot of family from the military. And I respect the service that the military gives us endlessly. It is it's remarkably selfless. And I talk to my friends about it, and we say, would you do that? Would you be able to put your life on the line for your country and for other people? And everyone likes to believe they could, but truth is, it takes a special kind of person to do that. So I really respect it.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you for saying that. I know a lot of us feel the same way. I mean, I served, but I happily did it. But I can understand. I've had lots of people tell me, like, I don't understand how you did it. I don't understand, but that's okay.
It's a hell of a thing.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, I was going to say, born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You graduated university with a bachelor's in, was it arts degree in communication arts? Is that right?
Bachelor of Arts, a BA in communications. Yeah, film, radio, and television, basically.
So you knew you wanted to get into this kind of line of work. I mean, pretty early.
I knew I wanted to be a performer since I was a little kid, and college was sort of to appease my parents. If I had my own way, I probably just would have gone right into acting right out of high school. But excuse me. But college was a great choice for me. And I figured, look, I had been performing on stage since I was a little kid. I had a lot of experience performing, but what I didn't know was the technical aspect of it. So I figured if I was going to get a degree, rather than get one in theater or drama, I'd rather get it in communication arts, because then I could learn what everyone else's job was, So
Right.
I learned lighting, and I learned camera, and I learned microphones, and I learned all the technical stuff. So when I got onto a set years later, I kind of had some idea of what everybody else was doing, and it sort of served me well.
It's funny, again, tying it to the military, we were I was in the infantry, and the one thing you do is you not only learn your weapon system, you learn all those around you, right? Because in the middle of a firefight, if mine goes down or the heavy weapons goes down, I have to pick it up and operate it. So I think that kind of plays in a little bit for you, right? Like if the lighting thing goes down, I know what I got to do. And if the sound goes down, I know what to do, right?
Well, just as a performer, you, especially young actors, when they get on a set for the first time, or they're not that experienced being around equipment and the technicians, it's easy to get distracted and to get awestruck. And I found the more information I had going in, the more relaxed I would be, and the better prepared I would be. So it's just good business, really, to know as much as you can about what you're going to get into, right?
I love it. I love it. All right, I'm gonna come at you. This is a very light interview, I always say, but I want to ask you probably the most difficult question. I'm gonna come right out the gate and ask. Back when you started, when you were just getting into this, what would have, like, I'm trying to, how do I phrase this? in that moment, what to you was success? What would be this is how I know I made it. If I can do this, or if I'm in this, that tells me I made it. What was success for you back then?
The same thing it is for me now, which is to be able to make a living in entertainment. I never had delusions of grandeur, really. Even coming out of college, when I moved to Los Angeles to pursue a career, I didn't think, okay, I want to be a movie star, or I want to be the biggest television star. My goal was, if I can make a living doing what I like to do, then that would be the win for me. That would be the biggest success for me. Because, when I first got out to LA, like many other starving actors and comedians, I was waiting tables and I was tending bar, and I had fun, but I knew I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. So the goal for me was always, how can I get a gig that will support me, that I can just full-time be in the entertainment business? And when I was able to achieve that, that's when I knew that for me, I had made it.
That's awesome. I say this in the best possible way. That's such a comedian answer. Like, you talk to a lot of comedians and it's always like, I don't need the specials and I don't need the world tour. Like, if I can just get paid enough to survive and do what I love, I'm happy.
Yeah. And I think that should be the goal for anyone who wants to get into the arts, whether it's performing or painting or sculpting or writing music or singing. I mean, the odds against you being a star, in quotes, are astronomical, but people can make a living in this world. And that, I think, is a lofty enough aspiration, because, they say in any given day, 95% of the actors in the Screen Actors Guild are unemployed, So if you can be one of those people who can pay the rent and have a family and feed your kids and do all that good stuff while you're also doing what you want to do, then it doesn't get any better than that, really.
Oh, it's beautiful. I'm gonna clip that and I'm gonna use it every time I'm blue. I'm like, can I feed my family? Okay, cool. We did it. Success for the day.
That is success.
So I understand that you had kind of a famous roomie there early in your life. You were roomed with Adam Carolla. How did that come about?
It was just one of those circumstances. I mean, when I got out to LA, I started, I never really did stand up. That was not my thing. I never liked working alone. And so I got into the world of sketch and improv comedy, where I was working with a troupe of other performers at a place called the Acme Comedy Theater. And they were just starting out. They had already had sort of a core group of performers called sort of their A team. And they were starting to add additional casts to perform more nights at that theater. And so I auditioned for there, and I got in with my sketch writing and my improv stuff. And Adam Carolla was already there on the first team. And so we just got friendly. And through a series of circumstances, I was tending bar at a place, and the owner of the bar wanted to rent his house, and he was willing to rent it to me for cheap. But it wasn't cheap enough that I could afford it on my own. So I reached out to the theater group and I said, does anybody need a place to live? Because I could use 2 roommates. And my buddy Cortland, who was also in the cast with me, and Adam was also leaving his apartment at the time. And so they said, yeah, let's do it. So the 3 of us just ended up sharing this house together for a couple of years out of just sheer luck. And it was a great time. We had a blast.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, because I hear that story a lot, in the sense of like, oh, Leo DiCaprio was friends with, Tobey Maguire, and as you're coming up in the world, and especially the comedy circuit. I know that's very popular. There's a lot of these comics that end up blowing up. Oh, we all did the same shitty open mics and things like that. So it's always nice. I like that. It's always like it's all one family.
I always say to people, especially who are interested in getting into what I do, that's the important reason to work, even if you're not getting paid. I mean, we all had to pay the theater owner to perform at that theater, the Acme Comedy Theater. We were paying to keep the bills paid and the lights on, and we would have audiences, but sometimes we'd get, 20 people in a 50-seat theater, and it wouldn't pay for the rent. So we ended up losing money on the deal, but we were gaining enormous experience by performing every weekend, and we were working with other people who were of similar mind and similar talent, and we got to make friends. And that is the most important part of those experiences, are the people you connect up with. And I can't tell you how many people I have heard from that group in that theater who said, "Hey, I got, we're doing this animated thing that I wrote. Do you want to do a voice for it?" And just when you work, you create more work just by the nature of people getting to see what you do and finding out, what your strengths are. And then when they need somebody, they think of you and they get a phone call, and that's how it works.
Yeah, one thing I've learned, the more because we've been fortunate to interview directors and actors and comedians and different people on this show, and the more I've researched, the more I've learned. Obviously auditioning is such a huge part of getting roles and cast and things, but Hollywood and the entertainment industry in a whole, it really is sometimes who you know. Because if so-and-so is my buddy and he's a director, I get cast in that thing. If so-and-so is, you've been in quite a few Kevin Smith movies in your career.
I have.
So it's good to know
Seth
people.
MacFarlane has hired me over and over and over again.
Right. So it's always good to know people and I guess obviously be a professional, work hard, show that you have talent and that you can work hard, and people are going to want to work with you.
Yeah, I think that sometimes people think when you have friends in the industry that automatically means you'll be working. And the truth is, it's half the equation. Yeah, it's great to have contacts and to have friends, but you also have to be able to deliver, because I don't care how much your friend likes you. If you can't bring it, then they got no use for you,
Yeah.
So
if you're going to shut down their production, they're not going to hire you.
And don't get me wrong, people would like to work with people that they've worked with before and that they know, because it just makes the process that much easier. It just greases the wheels. You develop a shorthand with people. I can work with Kevin now on anything, and I know exactly what he wants, and without him saying it. And the same with Seth. I've been doing Family Guy now for, almost 15 years, and I did Ted with him, and A Million Ways to Die in the West, and The Orville, and we just know each other so well. It's sort of an understanding there. So when you're on a set 12, 14 hours a day, and like on a feature film, you want to surround yourself with people that make that process as painless as possible. And that's why people tend to hire the same people or their friends over and over again. But at the end of the day, you still got to be able to hit the mark and say your lines.
Yeah, it immediately jumps to mind. So obviously people that are familiar with Kevin and the Smodcast family, right? You kind of see the same faces pop up in all the different movies. I'm trying to think of Seth Rogen and his crew. You kind of see the same kind of people over and over in the same movies, and it's you're right. It's that comfortability and the trust, and especially if there's a lot of these movies that maybe rely a little more on improv, and so you want to work with those people that they're going to bring it every time. The Adam Sandler group that always in the same movies together. So yeah, no, I like that a lot. Let me ask you, so this is, we're talking about, you're rooming with Adam, and this is around the time that you kind of got into the radio, and was that kind of for you, where you wanted to be in that moment? Were you leaning more towards I want to be in TV and film, or how did that work out?
Radio was a complete accident. I was living at that house with Adam, and I was bartending, and he was hanging drywall and doing boxing instruction. And he worked his way into a local morning radio show here in Los Angeles called the Kevin and Bean Show, because they were doing a big boxing stunt on the show. And he volunteered to be the boxing coach for their sports guy, who was a guy named Jimmy Kimmel. I don't know whatever happened to him, but
right.
So he and Adam hit it off, and Jimmy came to see the show a couple times when I was performing. And even then I leaned pretty heavily on celebrity impressions and character voices and things like that. So, you never know where things are going to lead. And it turns out that Adam and Jimmy came up with the Man Show idea together, and they sold it, and they were going off to do that on Comedy Central. So they were leaving morning radio. And the guys, Kevin and Bean, the hosts of the show, said to Jimmy, who had been there a long time, producer and performer on the show, "Do you know anybody who can do the kind of things that you do for us, who can write some material, who can do some character voices, maybe some impressions?" And Jimmy said, "Yeah, there's this guy that Adam rooms with, who's also in the Acme Comedy Theater. He's in that troupe, and he does character voices and celebrity impressions, and he writes real funny stuff, and you guys should talk to him. And Jimmy came to me and said, there's an opportunity. Do you want to do radio? And I had never even heard the show. And when he said, radio, I was thinking, what, am I be a DJ? Am I going to intro records and do time and temp and stuff? I had no interest in that. And he said, no, it's like, it's like a morning radio show and you'd be doing stuff. And I was like, radio, that doesn't, I never in a million years have I had any interest in that. And Kevin and Bean, the guys who ran the show, said, does he have any radio experience? And Jimmy said, no. And they said, well, it's not really for us. We want somebody who's coming from the world of radio. So he forced us to meet one day. And they said, we'll throw a couple bucks at you and we'll see how it works out. But we're really looking for someone professional. So we'll make this like a short-term 3-month deal. And I said, well, 3 months, I can afford to screw around for 3 months. Sure. And the money was actually better than I was making as a bartender. So I said, all right, I'll give you 3 months. And 18 years later, I left that show at the end of 2017. So sometimes life will surprise you by what you end up doing. But radio was never anything I had any interest in. I was always going to do either TV or film. That's what I was always geared towards. And it's funny because the radio gig actually did lead to TV and film jobs. So it was just a different way than I expected to get there.
No, that's, I mean, it's a good lesson for those, that just because you have a mind one way, keep yourself open to opportunities and who knows, they might lead to where you want to be.
Your plans don't mean a whole hell of a lot really at the end of the day. You gotta be able to improvise,
Yeah, it was the old saying, is it man plans, God laughs, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously you've done it, 18 years on the radio. I mean, I couldn't even calculate the amount of hours that boils down to, but what, can you give me a sense of kind of what's a high and a low from that period of your life? Like what's your favorite memory and maybe one that, wish you went a different way?
It's kind of a grueling life, actually, morning radio, because, you got to be up at 4:00 in the morning and, you're not usually done to around noon, and it's a hard schedule, especially for that long a time. But the rewards of being live on the air, and at one time we were the #1 show in Los Angeles, which is one of the biggest radio markets in the country. So we had a great audience and a great opportunity to do some really cool stuff. And I met a ton of great people and worked with great people. But the highlight for me was always a bit that we did, many years ago, when Saddam Hussein was still in power, and there was a big debate going on between the United States and France as to whether they should just go in and take him out or whether they should let the UN weapons inspectors do their job to see if he had weapons of mass destruction before entering in. And Bush was of one mind, and President Jacques Chirac was of another mind. And so it was a big thing at the time. And even I think it was Congress in their cafeteria, they changed the name of French fries to Freedom Fries because the French and the Americans were at odds about this decision about what to do with Saddam Hussein. So we thought it'd be a funny bit on the show. I do Jerry Lewis. And Jerry Lewis is, for some reason, adored in France, always has been. And they thought it'd be funny if we started calling random people in Paris and having Jerry Lewis try to convince them that the American perspective on things was right. And the end of the bit was going to be us attempting to call President Jacques Chirac at the presidential palace and try to get through to him. And we knew we would be hung up on or blocked or cursed at or something. And that would be the button on the bit. So we did the thing and we called some regular people in Paris, and I got on the phone. I said, hello, yes, this is Jerry Lewis here. And I just want you to know that we want to have good relationships with the French people. And so I would talk to them, and some people were very excited and some people couldn't care less. But at the end, we call the presidential palace, and we get a very nice woman who speaks French and says a few words, and then we hear a click, and we assume we've been hung up on. So we go into commercials, and suddenly she comes back on the line, and she says, Monsieur Lewis, please hold for the president. And she puts me through to Jacques Chirac. And the guys, the show, are looking at me, and I'm looking at them, and for whatever reason, I just decided to go for it. And I ended up having a conversation with Jacques Chirac for about 9 minutes about the situation in Iraq with Saddam Hussein. And it was
Wow.
surreal, to say the least. And, you know, you're walking that line of trying to be funny and trying to stay in character, but you don't want to be out of line either and cause some sort of international incident. But
Yeah.
it was the highlight of my radio career, largely because at one point I said, Monsieur President, yes, it's a pleasure to be talking to you, sir. And he said, oh, how can I tell this is Jerry Lewis? And I said, well, I don't know what to do to convince you, sir. I don't know what I can say to make you think it's me. And he said, oh, yes, Jerry, I can tell from your voice that it is you. You know, and for a guy who does voices, that's like the highest compliment that you can get.
Sure. Absolutely.
Anyway, when it was over, the crap hit the fan, and Jerry Lewis's people were furious, and the French were furious, and our lawyers were furious at us for what we had done, and we ended up having to pay a big chunk of money to Jerry Lewis's charity in order to get him not to sue, and it was a big nightmare. But all that withstanding, I would still do it again today because it was just great radio. I mean, people's heads exploded. They couldn't believe it. So it was timely. It was funny. I mean, it had all the elements that you wanted to have on a morning radio show, and it just it was a blast.
Wow, that's incredible, man. That I can't imagine what. I've got no words because I can't imagine. You know, you're talking to the French president, like. I mean, you know, is there
adrenaline? You know,
is there a thought in your mind that, like, man, they could come after me for this? Like,
sure. Well, here's the thing: the mics are live. You know, you're live. The adrenaline's kicking in, and all you see is what's immediately in front of you, which is how do I make this work? You know, and you're not thinking of all the repercussions afterwards. Sure, we're like, oh crap, what were we thinking? But when you're in the moment, you just go with it. And that's sort of like the training of improv. It teaches you. You're scared to death. You're on a stage in front of people. You don't know what you're going to say next, but you got to relax and let your mind just start working. And that's what we did. And it wasn't until afterwards we realized maybe that wasn't such a great idea.
The next American-French war. They're going to have pictures of you. Hang him.
The funny thing is the French never officially confirmed whether it was actually the president on the phone call or not, which I thought was very clever of them. They said, we're not saying that they talked to the president. We don't know who they talked to. And I said, that's pretty clever.
That's good. That's good, man. Wow. That's an incredible story. I'm gonna.
You can find that call online. I think if you go on YouTube, I think it's floating around out there someplace. So it's worth a listen. It's pretty cool.
That's incredible. And like you said, I think, let's say a guy who does ventriloquism, when you get that audience member that like starts looking at the dummy and like really like interacting with it, you're like, oh yes, I got him. So as a person that uses your voice, that's got to be,
right.
I've listened to many episodes of Hollywood Babylon on the podcast, and I always find myself, you start to lose yourself in the voice where you're like, this is that person speaking. And when did you realize that you had a knack for doing voices?
People talk about that, and you're very kind. I mean, I do a bunch of voices okay, and I've found a way to use those voices in an entertaining fashion. I can craft a pretty good bit using those voices. But there are some guys out there who are really good, like Frank Caliendo. I mean, I got a bunch of pals of mine who are truly master impressionists, and I don't hold a candle to those guys. So I don't want anyone in a million years to think that I consider myself in that category. But I was always able to do a voice well enough to make my friends laugh, like as a kid. So I don't even take credit for it as a skill I've sort of honed. It's like a party trick. It's like being able to touch your tongue to your nose or something. It's just something I was born with. I have an ear, and I can pick stuff up, and I can, regurgitate it. But I was doing Scooby-Doo and Shaggy and Yogi Bear and cartoon voice and stuff for my friends when I was a kid, and making milk come out of their nose at the lunch table, So that's, for me, it was always just something goofy. And then when I got into sketch and improv comedy, I was looking for a way to stand out, because there's a ton of people like stand-up who are just doing it, hoping to get a sitcom or be on Saturday Night Live or something. Sure. And there's a lot of funny people. I mean, I came up at the same time Will Farrell did. You know, he was at the Groundlings across town, and we had mutual friends, and we would always watch each other perform. So I knew there were guys like him who were just in another class that that wasn't my road, but I knew I had the voice thing in my back pocket. So I started doing a lot of impressions and character voices and stuff, but I didn't use it professionally until then. I'd never did it in high school or college or any of that kind of stuff. So then, of course, when I got into radio, it became invaluable to have that in my toolbox.
And I guess the anonymity of radio, right? The idea that they can't see you really helps play into that. Yeah,
the radio is the ultimate theater of the mind, as they say. So, you know, if you can do, you know, a possible, you know, Schwarzenegger, you know, when he's the governor of California, it's incredible with all these things, you know, people listening in the cars, you know, they'll meet you halfway so you can, you know, convince them that it's you. So you don't have to work as hard as you do when people are looking at you.
Oh man, I told myself I'm not going to ask him to do voices because I don't know. I think that's
please people do.
That's like that's what I'm saying. You're inundated. I'm sure on minute to minute. I saw you on Cameo. You're doing the Cameo thing, right? That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Yeah. For those that don't know Cameo, you can pay and have a shout out video, and you know, for those that can do voices, you could ask for a specific voice. So that's awesome.
And people do, yeah. Get a lot of Arnold.
I'm sure you do. So speaking of that, so you've done the radio thing. Like how was the transition to then start getting work doing like Family Guy and these kind of animated projects and voice work?
Yeah, I was so stupid when they offered me the job at K-Rock, which is the radio station where I did the morning show. Initially, I turned it down, and Jimmy Kimmel said, "What are you thinking?" And I was like, "You know, I'm an actor, and I want to do, you know, a sitcom or something like that. But radio is just this, you know, it's not getting me any closer to where I want to be. I don't know how much time I want to waste doing radio." And he said, "This is the ultimate boot camp for comedy and for writing, honing your writing skills. You're required to come up with like 5 hours of fresh material 5 days a week. This is the best. You couldn't pay, you know, a class to learn what you're going to learn through this." He said, "Take a year or two and do it because it'll make you better."
Right.
So that convinced me. But what he didn't say, and which I didn't even realize at the time, was I would be performing every morning into people's cars in Los Angeles, people who were driving to movie studios and TV networks, and my audience would be the same people I was trying to reach by going out on auditions, really.
Right.
So one morning, I get a phone call at the radio station from a lovely lady named Linda Lamontagne, and she was the casting director for Family Guy. And she said, "I heard you doing," the hell was it? Oh, Dustin Hoffman. I was doing Rain Man on the radio.
Right.
Yeah, definitely doing Dustin Hoffman. Uh-oh, definitely not my underwear. Yeah, I'm an excellent driver. So I'm doing that bit, and she says, "We have an episode this week where we need Dustin Hoffman. Would you come in and audition for it?" I was a huge Family Guy fan at the time. So I ran in and I did it, and Seth liked it. And so he brought me in and did that episode, and we hit it off and it went well. And he brought me in a couple of weeks later to do another episode. And now for practically 15 years, you know, I'm in almost every episode of Family Guy that airs now because they just keep bringing me back and I become part of the family. But if I hadn't been doing that on the radio, I never would have had the opportunity to get in that room and to show Seth what I could do. So a lot of opportunities have come from the radio. Just by doing good work, you forget people are out there listening. And, you know, that's how I got NYPD Blue. One of the producers of that show was a fan and heard me talking about the show and had me come in and read an audition for that show. And then I got a regular role on NYPD Blue, and I've gotten feature films, and it was a great opportunity for a long time.
Yeah, it's almost you subconsciously put your voice in people's heads. You know, if they're driving, like you said, driving or reading, and I'm listening to a podcast, I'm running or something, and you hear that voice enough, and you start to go, you know what voice would be perfect for this thing I'm doing?
It's like we talked earlier about Friends, right? Often when people are listening to you in their cars, especially in LA when they're stuck on the freeways, sometimes 2 hours to get to where they're going, you become their co-pilot. You become their carpool. They consider you a friend, and you'd be surprised. They start to think about you in that way. And when an opportunity arises, that you pop into their heads, and it really is a really positive influence, to be in radio specifically. At least it was. I was sort of in radio at the golden era, the end of a golden era of radio, sort of pre-streaming and pre-podcast, and there are so many options now. I mean, even satellite radio wasn't a major threat. Terrestrial radio was still where it was at when I was there. So it's the marketplace has changed so considerably now. But I was sort of there at the last of the glory days of terrestrial radio, and it made all the difference. I'm not so sure it's that way anymore, but
right, the last hurrah, as it were.
Yeah, kind of.
So yeah, guys, I pulled some notable characters from like Family Guy. Jeff Foxworthy, Ted Turner, Dustin Hoffman, Jeffrey Fiekelman, I want to say is the name.
Jeff Fiekelman, yeah, that was the abusive boyfriend of Quagmire's sister, Brenda.
That's right.
Yeah.
As in the name, I love the puns in the name is just too good. You played is it Jealous Dog, Sheriff Nichols. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, great stuff. And you kind of rolled that into also doing like video games. Your voice has been in video games too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I've done a couple video games. That's tough voiceover work, because a lot of times you're just repeating one line over and over again, or you're just making a lot of grunts and stuff like that. It's weird. I much prefer doing something with a narrative like animation or even radio plays or things like that. But I mean, it's just, I love doing it all. It's so great to get all these different experiences.
Yeah, no, that was kind of my curious. You jumped the gun on me there, but no, the question,
Sorry.
like, no, that is a great answer. Because I can imagine, for the layman, voiceover is voiceover, but I can imagine it's very different work, animation to something like video game work. But I think you
Yes.
touched on that.
I've done animation, and even in the animation world, there's so many different variations on a theme. I mean, obviously, Family Guy plays it fairly straight. Even when I'm doing a character like Officer Stickbutt or something, when I'm if I'm playing a cop and I'm keeping it pretty real for the most part. You change your attitude and you put some character in the voice, but you're not getting wacky. And then sometimes, you're playing a dog that's crazy with the ears are flapping everywhere. And there's a range of different styles, even in animation, that are very different from one another. And then you go into video games, which is usually ultra realistic and grueling on your voice. And then I've done books on tape, which is just reading for hours and making sure you get every word and every punctuation, and that's a different required skill. So, my buddy Phil Lamar, who's one of the best voice actors in the business, he always says that the best guys he knows who work are good actors. It doesn't matter whether you're acting with your voice or your whole face and your body. The skill set is the same. And so when people come up to him and they say, I want to be a voice actor too, he's like, why don't you just become an actor? Why don't you just learn how to do it? And then you'll be able to do it in a recording booth or on a stage or in front of a camera. You can do it all. And it's just getting as many skills as you can and putting them in your toolbox and trying to be as ready as possible. It's like any other good professional advice, just be as prepared as you can.
No, that's awesome. And now, so taking into account your background, you must be a big fan of both the 66 Batman and Adam West.
What was the giveaway?
the giant bat package that's over your shoulder was one thing. So
yeah, a huge fan of the Batman 66, as it's called now. It used to be just called Batman when I was a kid. Was a huge influence on my life on every possible level. Like when I was a little kid, it was like it introduced me to the world of superheroes, got me into comic books and all that good stuff. And then as I got older, I started to appreciate the humor in it when I was a teenager. And then even past that, I was like, oh, I see what Adam West is doing here. And he's genius. And that looks like fun. That would be a fun job to do that kind of stuff. So it influenced me at different stages in my life at different times, but it was a constant and obviously still is. I'm still a huge fan. And then to be friends with him, for us to become friendly, and for me to get to know him as well as I did and know his family, and to really develop a relationship with, you know, your boyhood idol. It was a one of a kind relationship. That experience was crazy for me, and also one of the first impressions I ever did, because actually, obviously, I was watching every episode repeatedly as a small child, and that amazing baritone voice just got burned into my brain. And Adam West is, you know, still my favorite voice to do, and the one I think I probably connect up with the most.
Sure.
And I've actually done Adam for, you know, I've done Adam's voice for a toy that Mattel made, and I've had, you know, I did it for MTV, and I've had a chance to do it for him and to him. When we were together, if we were in mixed company out with friends or something, he would often say, "Ralph, do your impression of me so everyone can hear it." And I would do him, and he would go, "That sounds nothing like me." And everybody would bust up because, you know, he'd be busting my balls. But it was just a joy. Everything about the guy was a joy. Nobody liked making people happier more than Adam West did, whether it was on film or in real life. And I watched him interact with literally thousands of fans over the course of our friendship, and I never saw him let one down. He always gave them the Adam West they wanted to meet, even if maybe he wasn't feeling it or was tired, or at the end of the day, he knew how to deliver, and it was endlessly impressive.
Would you say he was the Adam West? The Adam West they deserved, but not, or the one they needed, but not the one they deserved?
Yes, exactly.
So I can't imagine, you know, knowing the friendship you guys developed. You know, I think back to, like, okay, you know, for me it was Michael J. Fox. That's my Adam West. I grew up watching Back to the Future.